Hello, this is GDR TV. I am Dirky Dirk, so I wanted to follow up with some raid builds for you guys. And I know this thing looks pretty bad, but believe it or not, if I was in this thing, I would feel no shame whatsoever. It does not have to be beautiful. Raid builds are not supposed to be beautiful. So, rule number one, if your raid build is beautiful, chuck it. Chuck that art build out of here. We're not talking about art builds. We're talking about raids. Just raids. Does not have to be beautiful. Did I make my point? Okay. So with that in mind, this is not beautiful. It only has some starter paint, and I've made this horrible contraption with mostly Torino parts, engineers, nomads, a little tiny bit of lunatics, stuff that you're gonna have pretty quick. So let's see what makes this thing actually tick. So first of all, we got reputation items. There you go. Raids do give you reputation, so please feel free to put on your decor. You can have up to a 25% bonus, so seriously, slap it on, but remember it's capped at 25%. So, and remember, your decor is also armor, so this can kind of armor up some of the grill parts, no problem at all. So, I pretty much armored the hell out of this thing. Let's start from the front. Got some Torino parts over here. I've got a snowplow right in the front, both for ramming and extra durability facing forwards. And here I just piled on some armor. You generally don't need spaced armor for raids. You're mostly being hit by little machine guns and shotguns, so you want some dense armor in there. I just put a whole lot of stuff in front of the cab. Increases the durability of your vehicle. You want that too. And I fendered up my wheels also, just to put something in front of them so I don't lose them very quickly. So a lot of fenders on there. Had some bumpers for the rear and some heavy parts to close up the back. And let's look under the hood. We've got a gas gen. Remember I said that? Right between the frames should be totally fine. The baddies won't be aiming for this. Just watch out for the porcupines if you're doing normal or hard raids. And I figure I have some hardware. I have a hardcore engine slapped on. Why not? Just for extra speed. And a radiator over here. And remember, I also said 6 wheels is ideal for raids, so that way if something is shot off, you still have something over here. And remember, these are APC wheels. You might not have those, but some wheels have some damage resistance. So it's okay to mix up your wheels for different purposes. Now over here we have the tower. I did armor it up a little bit, just in case it gets hit by an impulse or a cannon or something. Otherwise, the enemies will not really be hitting this so much. Here's some bumpers to protect it as well. Also protecting the sides of the guns. And there is the structure of the tower. Like I said before, these are only grill parts. And I have some shotguns a little lower so it has more of a better firing angle. And I put machine guns way up here. No one's going to be aiming for this, no worries. It's just the impulses that might be hitting it. And there is your grill bit. Cool. And it's all on top of the cab. And done. Any questions? So this stupid ugly thing that I made, it's now power score is 6491, which is really decent. It is a little over tonnage. You can increase tonnage by adding more wheels, but you know what? I think I'm fine. I'm not really worried about that because in raids you can be slow, not too slow. But see, this is totally fine, totally fine. Don't have to go really fast. Yeah, all the raids are fine with slow vehicles, even escorting the truck. That truck is pretty slow, so don't worry about that. Now, as far as slowness goes, some people like armored tracks. I'd say that's fine, but don't put more than 2 armored tracks or it's just going to really slow down. I know it can be top heavy though, so that is an issue. Hardened tracks and the Lunatics tracks should be totally fine, give you more durability, no problem, I understand that. Goliaths probably are going to be too slow. And legs, it depends. Legs can certainly be slow. And the other thing about legs to notice is that legs, they take up a lot of space. So on narrow corridors, these spiders are going to be really annoying and tripping up people. I really hate that personally, but you know what? I can't say that spiders are not viable. They can be. Okay, so now that we've talked about that, let's talk about weapons. Now, remember, raids in general are going to be stripping weapons off of tiny vehicles. How do we do that? I prefer shotguns, and shotguns are really good at that. You just aim with that big reticle and just in the general direction just start spamming. Notice I have different keys over here for shotguns and machine guns. So I go to the general area and I just spam, boom. Some people like machine guns and that's totally fine, especially for towers. In the distance, you want to shoot out those towers with machine guns. Now with machine guns, notice how if you're aiming for something like this little ducky, you have to really aim well. I'm not saying you can't do it, even I'm old and I can do it, but still, I'm telling you, when there's hundreds of little vehicles, it's going to cause some eye strain trying to aim this little point at all those little weapons. Well, the shotgun, you just kind of spam and you'll get that weapon no problem, if not the whole cab. So, in general, I would say a good combination of shotguns and machine guns is pretty much the way to go, personally. Now, if you like vectors, go right ahead. One thing I'll say about vectors is they're really long. So if you're kind of turning around, the vectors trip over each other and have to kind of go up around, and it's kind of annoying. Keep that in mind. Vectors, they do swivel, but it's not going to help you if they're all in a row. That's why I think defenders are totally fine, but it's up to you. So the blue weapons that you want to bring, I would say Wasp. For most of the raids, not a great idea, especially if that's your main weapon. I would say stick with your machine guns and shotguns. Junk bows for these things are slow. They're slow to reload, and there's so many guys, I would say don't really do a junk bow. And if you're one of those guys who says it works for me, well, to hell with you. Autocannons I'm not too happy with, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Vectors, absolutely. Piercers, okay. Synthesis, if that's your thing. Explosive spears, leave that at home. You were talking about a lot of guys coming at you. Goblins, it's okay, but you still have to aim your vehicle pretty well. That's kind of an iffy thing for me. Now, if you want to do a cannon for your missions, Little Boy is the way to go. It has a turret, no problem, it can swivel. A judge, I would say not so good because you can't aim it, and there's so many guys in different directions, not a great idea. Now, buzzsaws and bores, a very good finisher. Just to stick 1 or 2 on the front of your vehicle, that's not too bad. Sledgehammers is a shotgun, sure. Falcons, leave this at home. This is not PvP. And turrets and sidekicks, leave it at home. You disagree with me? Yeah. Alright, moving on. Again, so executioners, they don't swivel, not going to be to your advantage. And Lancelot's too many guys, no. Crickets in some raids, and if you're really good, I don't know. I'd rather say no. Pyres, no, because you can't choose who they're going to shoot at. There's so many guys swarming you. Pyres are definitely bad, so don't do it. Equalizer's okay, Spectre okay, Can forget about it. Fidget's good, Fafnir too slow, Impulse, not too bad if you're good at it. They can really support, but do have something to follow through, like MCs or shotguns. Tackler's pretty good. Fat Man, you could do 1. Alright, 1. Whirlwinds, I'm gonna say meh. Toe, forget about it. Skinner, don't be an idiot. Thunderbolt, not really great. Incinerator, you can have 1 of these for support. Okay. Spike, bleh. Dresba, meh. Just use a boar. This is just too much power score. Quasar, too slow. Prometheus, I don't know. I never used it. It's up to you. Caucasus can work if you have a whole bunch of them, but again, remember, you can't choose who you're going to shoot at, and you're only shooting the cab, not their weapons, so not so great all the time. Aurora is a wonderful raid weapon because it lights up the enemies that you shoot. If something is red, all your teammates know where to shoot. Perfect. Phoenix is too slow. Corvo, does anybody like Corvos? I didn't think so. Fuse drones, keep them at home. Owls, keep them freaking at home. Barrier meh. So, Anaconda, keep it home. We don't like those things. Now, what I'm not doing is, remember I said that a cannon is okay? So if you choose to have a cannon, you may want to slap an ammo box somewhere down here. I understand that. Now remember, in raids, you will pick up ammo boxes as you go, but if you rely on a cannon, then yeah, not bad to have your own. So otherwise, I would say, if you want a cannon, 1 please. 1 cannon will do it. That gets you for your mission, if you need a cannon. And it's pretty good to just shoot one of these things with a large AoE effect to bam and just shoot things around. That's totally fine, but guys, if you have 3 freaking cannons, it's not gonna work. 3 executioners don't work because you can't pinpoint 1 guy at a time. There's too many baddies for all these cannons. Forget about it. So if you have a cannon, combine that. Combine with machine guns, or defenders. That's a terrible thing that I'm just building, but get the idea. Get a cannon and combine that with lots of machine guns or shotguns. Combine them, people, combine. That's the key word. Now, one more thing. Where do I put the fuel tank? So, people, you take your fuel tank, and let me show you where to put it, okay? Now listen really closely.
You take your goddamn fuel tank and you put it right up your butt. You take it and you put it right, stick it right up your frickin' butt.
Raids do not give you fuel. Ever. They don't give fuel. If I see this, I should frickin' report you. I'm so sick of it. Don't bring this to a raid. Ever. I don't care how hidden it is, and believe me, it's usually not. So, my friends, I have said my piece. Happy raiding out there. Get your plastic, get your copper, and I will see you guys later. Ciao, guys.